Topical issue: old African mud hut technology. In the past videos, I said that I was born in town and had to be taken to the rural setting when I was small to learn my ancestral language. The place I was taken is called a wardrobe or beddings, and a town named after the Luya king, former Luya king called Mumias. During that time, houses were constructed out of mud, poles, twigs, and thatch grass or sword grass or reeds. The time I went there when I was small, there were two iron sheet houses. When I mean iron sheet, they are tins that used to carry cooking oil. Some were from the American with the hand shaking written on friendship and the flag of America. Others were where people had bought cooking oil for wholesale, and those tins remained. The 20 kilogram, the ones holding 20 liters or 50 liters, they are large. So what the owners of those cans would do, if you had money to buy or those who kept them, they would look for knives and cut them open. And then they would make a house, just like the way people used to make a mud house, but now they would not use thatch grass. They would painstakingly nail those iron sheets in such a manner that no rain could get in. And those were the few privileged people. They would tell you they had an iron sheet house. Different cans put together. And the building of this mud house was very interesting because there was no using of nails. The poles would be cut, then the place marked, holes dug, and poles put into those holes and farmed. Then twigs would be tied around inside and outside, and then there was a fixing of those poles with the top poles that will be used for roofing. If it was round, it was made in a conical manner, like a cone, and then all the poles that were used for roofing would meet at the center, and there was a small stick that would go upwards. I guess that was what was used as a lightning arrest at that time, because when it rained, the whole grass would conduct the water down, and when the whole surface is wet, if lightning struck, it would flow with the water. No water could enter that hut after roofing, not even a drop of water. And that house was cool during sunshine and warm during rain. Even when it was cold outside, it was warm. So when they are tied like that, they would step on the mud, wet the mud and step on it until it was pliable, just like you make dough for making bread. Then the mud would be put in between, all round. After that, it was smeared so that it covered all the twigs and the poles. You could not see it. Now all you could see were the mud walls. And then later, when it had dried a bit, mud and cow dung would be mixed and the place would be smeared. And it dried like a cemented wall. Then now, when that was over, there were no paints that time that were being used, maybe in towns. In the rural areas, there were ponds and places with clay that was of different colors. We had blue clay, we had white clay, we had almost purple, we had red ochre, and somebody would go and dig soil of his own liking and come and wet it, and now mix with cow dung and smear, and then the wall would take that color. Some would even paint beautiful paintings, and after that, poles and poles, strong poles were tied, and then some lighter poles tied in between. Those ones were for the door. And then leather strips, because leather does not break easily, would be used to tie the hinges. And across the house, they would look for a carved, cut by axe, wooden block that would be fixed to the frame doors, both sides, so that when the door was locked, iron bars, three, one would be entered at the top, at the center, and at the bottom. When it had been entered that way, from inside, you could not be able to open or break the door. Then came to the mud, to the floor. The floor was farmed and beaten and made smooth. After that, when it was smooth, people would take cow dung and clay, wet clay, mix, and then smear the floor. When smearing the floor, one would use the aloe vera leaf to make patterns, and when it dried, it produced beautiful patterns like tire markings, depending on what you are doing. People had different decorations that they made with that. Once dry, it was as firm as a cement floor. All you had to do to remove dust was, after 2 days, you sprinkle some little water and sweep. That floor would last for about 2.5 weeks or 3, and then you will smear again. That having been done, the roofing started from the edge of the poles, being tied as they went up and went up until when they reached the apex. So the grass that was being put from one layer was lying on top of the other grass and properly tied. It would not be blown away by the wind, and no water, not even a drop of rain, would enter through that grass. So when it rained, it would just flow the way it flows from the iron sheets. There were special types of grass: touch grass, sword grass, and the reeds of sword grass. Once that was done, the house was complete. You would make rooms according to your requirements, and the internal rooms did not have doors. You just have to make a mud wall, and that was that. So you could put a curtain. And the house was complete. People would make big houses depending with the number of children you have, or smaller houses. Mostly the kitchen was not included in the house. The kitchen was outside another small thatched house where you would do the cooking. The houses had a ventilation. And these houses were unique because in this technology, no nail was used. The house ended up looking very beautiful. And it was warm during the cold weather and cool during the hot sun because of the grass thatching. So during the day, even during a very hot day, you would not feel the heat. It was cool in the house. And when it rained, it was warm in the house. It had total weather control because of the mud walls and the thatch grass. Those were the houses that were there until after some time, the modern iron sheets came, and he built a house and put these modern iron sheets. And people used to call him the man with the iron sheet. Everybody knew him across the several villages that were around there because his house would glitter. The others were made from thatch, those ones don't glitter, but the iron sheet house will glitter. It was not like the other iron sheets from the cooking oil cans that will become rusty. So you will see rusty iron sheets on top. But this one will glitter. So he was called the man with the iron sheets. That was when, in this area, the company that does sugarcane started farming sugarcane. That was the beginning of the sugarcane farming in Mumias. A beautiful place. I've talked about the construction of this house because many of our young generations have never seen. In fact, if you go to that place, there are stone houses with good iron, modern houses with whatever you have in any town. That is how the place is now. So if you tell even the small children that houses would be made from thatch grass and twigs and poles and mud and smear with cow dung. Nowadays, most of the children, even the people, cannot handle cow dung. That time, we would mix. I don't know why we would feel very free and we would handle it very easily and smear with the hands, bare hands. Then you work the hands after that. So that was the old technology. It's a technology that may get lost because many people have not talked about it. But this is for posterity purposes and for now, for the future, and for those who have not learned. You can be able to build a house with twigs, poles, and tying it with natural materials even without using nails, and you have a good, comfortable house safe to live in. Except when it's dry, you have to avoid fire because the thatch grass can easily catch fire. But apart from that, very comfortable house. That is the knowledge I would like to preserve on this. And for those young ones who have not learned, should know that it's not a must that you must have stone or brick to build a house and iron sheets. It's only that now the thatch grass has gotten almost extinct. I don't see sword grass anymore. So even when I talk of sword grass, people will be left wondering what is sword grass. And even thatch grass is almost finished. So that's how houses were being built at that time during my lifetime. So there's been a great change here from that to completely modern houses with toilets and bathrooms inside. A great change. And for the young generation, when you tell them that, they would think you are telling them a fairy tale. That is how it was. That's my take for now.